glad you're here.
Yeah.
This is like the 4th time this week I've gotten stuck. The other 2 times were at the mall. You know those curbs? They're like way high. So I came out here to try to get some pictures for the gram, and there's like this big tree in the way. And I got stuck in the mud and it's all sticky. So I've been waiting here a while. I like your Jeep. Is it vintage? It's super cute. I really like the color. Do you like my color? Should I move? Thank you so much for rescuing me, Jeep guy. I think this little ducky would make your vintage Jeep super happy. Thanks.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Bronco Garage. Today we are going to talk about a brand new product, the Hidden Winch System, designed by Lick Creek Restorations. I've got Tom Hyde from Lick Creek here, the designer himself. How you doing, Tom?
I'm doing all right. Glad to be back.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get into the unbox of this brand new product. So if you were to go and purchase this new system off of dufftuff.com, you would start with the Hidden Winch mounting plate, correct?
Correct.
Okay, well this looks like a really beefy piece. You got 1/4 inch design here, plus you've got another 1/4 inch up here at the toe hooks.
Yeah, they're reinforced for toe points.
Nice. So technically, if someone wanted to, they could just buy this piece, and from there, if they wanted to DIY, they could, right?
Absolutely.
Now tell me a little bit more of what the requirements are in order to put this on your Early Bronco.
You need at least a 1-inch body lift. It was designed for other options, but we know it works with a 1 or more. Anything you want to go beyond that is going to require some fabrication on hand. We're not going to really support that.
Okay.
It's there, it can be done, but that is on them.
Now, I know you're a big fan of the Duff Tuff Performance Package because, let's face it, you're the one who actually collaborated with James Duff to get that all working. So, of course, your products are going to work with that, right?
Yes, and this was, as we'd mentioned in prior videos, this was developed to go along with the spare tire carrier. And this kind of rounds out that package. One of the things when I designed this was it had to work with the existing Duff Tuff Performance Package. So there are provisions in here for the Hellwig sway bar. Everything else clears. There's a notch over here to clear the steering gear box. It's a really complete system. It's been well tested so far.
Well, you know what? I think we should talk about the winch that actually mounts up to that next then.
So why don't you give us a little winch 101 for those that don't know in the Early Bronco world. You know, sizes and everything else. Size does matter.
Yeah, definitely. So the minimum of a winch you want on your Early Bronco is about 8,000 pounds. But we all know that when you're actually going out and wheeling your Bronco, that they creep up to about 5,000 pounds pretty quickly. And you always want the double amount in your winch that what it can actually handle. So you can do 9, which is safe, but hey, why not do 10? And that's what this one here is a 10,000 pound Warn 10S Evo.
Yes.
And it's got the synthetic rope already in. Now, Tom, tell us why it's so important that we should have the synthetic rope here.
Well, the main feature for the synthetic rope is because it relies on a roller-less Haas fair lead. With this, the rope actually routes up through the front bumper, and running a cable or a roller could cause some issues. It could possibly grind or anything like that. So we had to make sure, and you can see that there is a guide here that is also built in, and this also acts as a fair lead for it coming into the winch. That way we could keep it as compact and tucked and keep that ground clearance at a maximum.
So you actually went through and you found a winch that you liked for this system, but it also works for other bumpers that James Duff offers.
Yes, it does. One of the things when Michael and I got together, we talked about sizing, and of course we already touched on that we went to the 10,000. The biggest thing I needed was the synthetic rope. And then one of the other features that had to be important on this, because we do mount this winch inverted, is the control box needs to be able to be remote mounted. So the Evo series winches all provide that. This just unbolts, these cables come off, and we have some other features to go with that.
That's a good point too about winches. Now, if you're going to be outsourcing your own winch for this system, you definitely want to look at one that has the remote mount option. If you do one that's integrated, which it literally would be cast into the body of the winch, or if it's like an 8274, you're definitely not going to want to use those ones for this system.
Yeah, they would bolt up, but it will not work with the skid plate, and you're going to have an obstruction hanging down underneath.
Yeah. You know, Tom, the other thing I really like about this winch is it also works really well with the other bumper options that James Duff offers. You know, like their Smoothie Hidden Winch bumper, because you can remove this piece and you can then use the remote mount system for this hidden winch design, and then also have that tucked up nice and tight. You know, there's other feature that I like about this, which is the remote control. Tell me a little more about that.
So everybody's used to a wired remote for their winch, and one of the nice features with the Warren 10S Evo is this one's wireless. So it gives you the corded option if the battery goes bad or dies in the handheld unit, or you can plug it into the corded, and it works great. I think the range we've had this, I've been almost 100 feet away from the Bronco, and it still works, so it's pretty good range.
That's great. You know, also James Duff offers this winch standalone, so if you want to buy this winch for any other project that you have, you can, and it's competitively priced. So that way, if you want to buy it for the same price as, say, Summit has it, there you go. Let's talk about some more things that, you know, because my biggest concern obviously was, you know, all of this being underneath the Bronco and having the right amount of ground clearance. I think we should talk about the skid plate next.
Sure.
All right, Tom, so let's talk about the skid plate for the winch. Now we've got, what, 3/16 plate steel construction here?
Yes.
Powder coated. But this part here is what really is something that I'm curious about. What's going on here?
The skid plate will tie everything together. So the front bumpers are not as strong as we would like them to be. This takes care of that because it starts to add triangulation into it. The other nice thing is this skid plate actually ties directly into the frame rail, so anything that you hit on the bottom of it, you're pushing the front of the truck up. This will also help for off-camber pulls, so if you're pulling diagonally or up, the bumper's not going to flex. It locks the center of that bumper in.
So basically you sandwich this between the bumper and the fair lead, and
Correct.
Everything locks together.
Yes.
That makes it really rigid. That's really cool. You know, I was also wondering about, you know, your approach angle and just how much ground clearance you have with this.
So we just measured it on the duck with 35-inch tires and the 2.5-inch Duck Tough Performance package, and we got 19.5 inches of ground clearance to the bottom of the skid plate.
Cool. And how's your tire wheel approach?
Tire wheel approach, if you're running up to a sandbank, front bumper, it doesn't impede it at all. If you had a down tree that was more than 20 inches, it's going to push it a little bit, probably 2 or 3 inches before the tires make contact and pull the vehicle over.
Well, and you've got a good angle here too, so, you know, they're going to hit this, it's going to ramp over.
It's going to ramp right over.
Grab those tires. You know, and that's a good point too, Tom. We should really be letting people know that if you're building a hardcore rock crawler, this isn't going to be for you. This is dual sport. You know, this is the guy who wants to go out on the trail but also be able to go on the freeway.
Yes.
So Tom, other than this really cool little LCR logo that is cut into the side of the skid plate, are there any other features about it that you want to talk about?
Not on the skid plate, it's pretty much covered, but there is a cool feature for the control pack mounting kit that I want to go over.
Oh, cool. Let's look at that next. All right, Tom. So stainless steel?
304.
Okay. 14 gauge?
Yep, drilled and tapped.
Oh, nice. I gotta tell you, Tom, this looks really weird.
That's because you're holding it upside down. So this goes towards the grill of the truck, this goes towards the engine.
Okay.
Underneath the battery tray.
Got it.
So it's drilled and tapped. The hardware kit we provides 2 new clips, the bolts to mount that back into the truck, and there's 2 screws in here, which are the only 2 screws that you will not reuse out of here, which is what holds down the remote pack.
Oh, got it. Okay. So I imagine there's some good instructions on how to tear this all down.
Yes.
And get your winch prepped as well as your control pack.
Yes, this does have probably a half hour, 45 minutes of table work prepping and converting this winch, getting it ready to mount in the system.
Well, it sounds like to me they should probably be looking at getting a new battery tray at the same time. Is that right?
Yes, that would be highly recommended because we all know these things are the first things to rot out in a Bronco. So when you're doing all this, instead of fighting it, pick up a new one while you're online.
Okay, so you've got new battery cables too. What's going on here? This is great.
So the existing pack has short cables because they've got it mounted on top of the winch. So we are now relocating it from the center of the truck to underneath the battery tray. So we had to create all new cables. They are all color coded and matched.
Nice.
So you've got the blue, the green, the red, and yellow.
Yeah.
So it makes it really simple. Just unbolt, swap those in, bolt it back up.
Man, that is so cool. You know what I'm really noticing here is that if you can purchase this all by itself, and you can purchase the winch, then you could technically put this on any bumper.
Yes, as we mentioned before, this winch works with all of James Duff plate bumpers. So now we have the Hidden Winch Smoothie bumper that this will also work with in conjunction with this remote kit to allow it to be completely concealed and still get the benefits of this kit.
So that's really cool that the Hidden Winch system is so modular because you can choose what you want for your build, but you can also use it for other products.
Yes.
Don't we have other things though? Isn't there anything else?
Oh, yes, we do.
Oh man, I gotta see this. All right, Tom, so we talked about the Hidden Winch system and all the really cool features about it. Now we've got the accessories. Now that's pretty cool. So tell me a little bit about the accessories here.
So the first accessory we have is if you live in a state like I do for Virginia, they require a license plate on the front of the truck. So we developed this. It sandwiches on the front bumper between the fair lead and the bumper. This hooks to it and it covers everything. So it gives you a nice little stealthy appeal, but also gives you a great place to mount your license plate. And it's fully covers the license plate, so you don't have to worry about tacoing your aluminum plate from the state. It's pretty sturdy and it works great.
Great, and I see it's 14 gauge, it's obviously it's press bent, and it's powder coated gloss black.
Yes.
You know, I've actually heard several people look at your Bronco and go, I didn't even know it had a winch because that thing was covering it. So that is really stealthy.
That is very cool.
Yeah. Well, we've also got some really cool license plate frames, and they come in two different varieties. You've got Lit Creek Restorations, and this is 14 gauge and it's natural finish. So that means that when you get it, it's gonna have some little scratches and it's not gonna be consistent, but it allows you to finish it out the way you want. I think, Tom, you like Scotch-Brite finish?
I did Scotch-Brite on mine. So as he did say, it is natural finish, but it is 304 stainless steel.
Yeah.
So we opted to use that material so you get bug impacts and everything else, and it seems to be right there on the front of the vehicle. That way if it chips through the paint, it's not gonna rust.
And there's also this really cool black powder coated backer plate, so that way you can see the writing really well when it's up against the license plate. You have blue and black as an option for the Duff Tough one, and just black for Lit Creek. Now, I gotta say, that battery tray, it's back.
Yeah, this is one thing that you really can't overlook because you're going to discover it, especially if you have a unrestored Bronco. By the time you fight the bolts out and everything else, chances are this plate's probably rotten or on its way out because they just do. I mean, that's characteristics of the first place to rot.
Right.
Just get another one.
Okay, all right, cool. Well, we've also got this really cool bumper, and at first glance, you're like, okay, well, I have a bumper. Why do I need another one? Well, that's a good point, right? Because the kit comes with a template to cut the holes into your own.
Right. The kit comes with a complete template, steel template actually. So it gets you your centering points for your drills and everything else, but you have to drill it, use a jigsaw or a hacksaw, and manually cut all of this stuff. Well, James Duff answered the question. It's like, okay, I don't want to do all of that, so let's make it bolt on.
Yeah.
And they machine this in. So this is all precision machined and it bolts right up.
Man, you could really just, 4 bolt holes and a couple of tools, and you could have this thing on in a weekend, right?
Absolutely, in a day.
So what do we want to rate this at a mechanical, what level of difficulty do you think this would be at?
I would say a 4, but I would plan for 3/4 to a full day. It's not real hard to do. It's just time consuming. By the time you get your wires routed and everything together, it takes some time. There is a step on the winch that takes a couple hours, especially, we want you to take your time. Sure, you could blast through it in a few minutes.
Sure.
That's when mistakes happen. You don't want to do that. Take your time, set everything up, allow a day for it, and I think you'll be fine.
So you got the DIY guy who can do things his way, or you can buy everything and just bolt it all up. With that being said, I want to do a video of installing this on Huck. And I've been telling you that I'm coming after you. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take you to Windrock and I'm gonna put that on Huck because I know I'm gonna have to winch you out of something. You know,
We'll see.
I've seen you drive, so I'm pretty confident he's gonna need a lot of help.
Maybe.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I hope you guys stick around because we are gonna be making that video and getting it out to you, so subscribe. And there's a ton of information down in the description below, so if you wanna go and check this out, looking forward to seeing you at the next video. Go on, get out of my set. Jesus. All right.